Firstly, a huge thank you to Kevin and ODI for hosting us, and big congratulations to IHME and the World Bank for the report, which I think is a really compelling argument for why this very neglected area needs to be invested in and supported. I guess it's so compelling. The question is, what are we going to do about it? And it's great to have a foreword from the president of the World Bank in a report like this. But then the question comes, how do you translate that forward into some kind of task force involving transport and health sectors actually getting to grips with this issue? And certainly on the road safety side of the house, this is the problem we've always had, is that we've got a decade of action, we've got transient support from policymakers, leaders of countries, leaders of institutions, but it's never really turned into anything more substantial. So I think the question facing all of us is, how do we get that to happen? How do we make that breakthrough? And I guess at the FIA Foundation, we think there's probably two ways to do it, and connected to the post-2015 agenda. And this is an opportunity we have, once in a generation opportunity for those of us who have been outside of the conversation on development for so long, to actually get a foot in the door and become part of the discussion. And it's an opportunity to edge our way into the debate. Reports and data like this that we've seen today can play a big role in helping to make the argument, and we're beginning to get some momentum. So last August, in his first report on post-2015, Ban Ki-moon included road safety within the health cluster of issues that could potentially become a health goal. The working group at the UN, which has been tasked with trying to come up with an outline for the negotiations for the post-2015 Sustainable Development Goals, has included road safety in a couple of the focus areas. There's also some strong country support for action on air quality and on fuel economy issues. And we're seeing a growing number of member states supporting those positions, and UN agencies as well, coming in behind the idea of having post-2015 targets for road safety and for air quality. So we're getting some recognition, but I think we've also got to make the case that we have affordable and effective solutions that people can invest in. And speaking as a donor to the Global Road Safety Facility, I think the work that the facility has been doing is very important. And if you take the case of Argentina as an example, where Argentina has been persuaded to take out pretty much the first ever standalone road safety loan to bring its road safety performance up to the sort of safe systems level. Now that couldn't have happened without the work of Mark and his colleagues going down there, generating the interest and the capacity to make that loan application, doing the country capacity reviews. But this is work which the facility and other development banks should be doing, but it's underfunded, it's not being recognised. So I think one outcome of this report is that we should be encouraging the senior management at the bank, but also the donors to the facility, to recognise what they are achieving and to increase their support in the coming years. Looking at the air pollution side and the environmental side, we have a good example of a collaborative approach which has delivered real results over the last 10 years. We've been a member of a UN Environment Programme-led programme called Partnership for Clean Fuels and Vehicles, which is co-funded by the US government, the Canadian government and the EU, which in 10 years, it was established at the Johannesburg Sustainability Summit in 2002, in 10 years has succeeded in almost completely eradicating lead from petrol at an annual saving, they say, we think, of around 1.2 million lives a year, and untold social benefits because of the effect that lead had on children's brains and on recidivism and all sorts of things. They've achieved that. They're now working on low sulfur. They estimate that around 80% of developing countries have ultra-high sulfur levels, which do not allow them to use those kind of clean engine technologies which are so vital for air quality, but also for improving fuel efficiency. So this is an example of a program that is working, that is practical, doesn't require huge bureaucracy, but can deliver. And I think our vision is that this is the kind of thing that we want to see happening coming out of the post-2015 period and out of reports like this. And I think one of the things that's very interesting about this report is that it makes the link for the first time, really, connecting transport to the non-communicable disease area. And I know there's more work that needs to be done on this, but I think it's a really useful bridge between sort of the transport and health sectors. And this is going to become a really big issue everywhere in the coming years. Is becoming a huge issue, as ODI have pointed out, in the developing world, and it's been an issue for a long time in the developed world. But the rates of increase in obesity and ill health in places like China and India are just staggering. And part of this must be down to increased motorization, people driving, and people not feeling safe walking. So another pilot initiative that we've been running, again with the UN Environment Programme, is something called Share the Road, which is trying to sort of reverse the hierarchy of how the road is designed, how urban design happens, to put pedestrians and cyclists first. Partly it's a matter of social justice, because around half of the people in low and middle income countries are never going to own a car, never going to be in a car. It's partly data driven, because a lot of the people in low income, middle income countries who are getting killed outside of cars, they're pedestrians, cyclists, motorcyclists. It's also to do with trying to change the paradigm of transport and how it works. And we think that the only way you're going to persuade people to reduce their car dependency, to take other modes of transport, is to make the roads and the environment they're in safe and clean. It's not just about road safety as well, incidentally, it's also about personal safety, and it's a big issue for women particularly, and for girls, trying to get enrolling girls in schools. So there's a whole range of issues, and I think this needs exploring more. So in conclusion, I think what we would say is that there needs to be a ramped up response to the data that we've seen in this report. I know most of you hadn't had a chance to read it yet, but do go away and read it, because it's a great report, very clear, very vivid, a very vivid detail, and really shocking detail as well. So what we would be asking of the donors who are in this room, but also of the development policy people in this room, and I include ODI in this, is, you know, when this meeting is over, let's not go away and forget about it and think about something else. Let's work out how we can make a response to this, because all too often in the road safety world, and in the air quality world too, we see reports being produced, we see data being published, and then people walk away and forget about it. So let's make sure that we don't do that again today. Thank you.
Thanks, Saul. It's great to end with a challenge like that.